Picture this. You're walking through the streets of Casablanca or Marrakesh. You hear a language that's definitely Arabic, but it's sprinkled with something else, something that sounds kind of familiar, almost European. Well, that's Moroccan Darija. And today, we're going to uncover its surprising connection to French. So, have you ever been in Morocco and heard a word that made you do a double take? A word that felt super familiar, even if you don't speak a lick of Arabic? Well, chances are you weren't just imagining it. Let's find out just how deep this connection to French really goes. You know, languages are a lot like living things. They bump into each other, they share, they borrow, and the story of Moroccan Darija is totally intertwined with French, creating this unique blend that's just packed with what linguists call loanwords. So what exactly is a loanword? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a word that one language adopts from another. And in Morocco, we're not talking about just a few words. We're talking about hundreds of French words that haven't just been borrowed. They've been woven so deeply into the daily dialect that they're now a core part of Darija. Honestly, the best way to understand this isn't for me to just talk about it, but for us to actually experience it. So let's take a little virtual tour of a typical day in Morocco, and we'll start right where most days do, inside the home. Okay, so let's step inside a Moroccan home. You might think you're surrounded by purely Arabic words, but the French influence is, well, it's everywhere, and often in the most common, everyday objects you can imagine. Let's start in the kitchen. Need a fork? You'd ask for a fourchette. That small pot bubbling on the stove, that's a casserole. The faucet is a robinet, and the table you eat at is a table. See what I mean? These aren't obscure technical terms. They're the go-to words for essential everyday things. And even something as simple as a curtain tells a whole story. In Darija, it's rideau, which is a direct echo of the French word rideau. It's just a perfect little example of how this cultural exchange shaped not just big ideas, but the very fabric of the home. And this influence goes way beyond just the objects in a room. It's baked into the architecture itself. The living room is the salon, the ceiling is the plafond, and you step out onto the balcon for some fresh air. The French vocabulary is literally built into the foundations of the Moroccan home. All right, let's head outside. As we start walking through the streets of a Moroccan city, you're going to see that the French influence is just as strong in public life as it is back inside the house. Now here, we start to see a really common pattern. When new technologies and inventions arrived in Morocco, their French names often just came right along with them. A perfect example? The bicycle. In Darija, it's a bicicleta, which is a clear, adaptation of the French bicyclette. And this pattern is all over modern city life. A car is a mobile, from automobile, of course. A ticket for the bus or train is a tiki. And when you're window shopping, you're looking in a vitrina. These words really form the basic vocabulary of moving around and doing business in public. Now, let's zoom in even closer. We're going from the city streets to the personal items we all carry and the concepts we use every single day. And, you guessed it, the French influence here is just as strong. Seriously, just for a second, think about what might be in your bag or your pocket right now. Well, if you were in Morocco, there's a good chance some of those very items would have French-derived names. I mean, think about it. A bill or a receipt is a factura. A phone is a telephone. A little notebook is a carnet. Even an abstract idea like form or shape is forma. These aren't just casual slang words. They are fundamental terms for commerce, communication, and even just organizing your thoughts. And get this, even a simple handkerchief becomes a mouchoir. It's such a small, ordinary object, right? But it perfectly captures how this incredible linguistic history is literally carried around in the pockets of everyday people. It just shows how deep these roots really run. So, what does this all tell us? We've seen French words in the kitchen, on the street, and in our own pockets. It tells us that language is never static. It's a living, breathing thing that acts as a mirror, reflecting a country's unique history and culture. So the big takeaway here is that language is always changing. In Morocco, this French influence isn't some foreign layer sitting on top of the language. No, it's been woven right into the very fabric of communication. These words, they're not just borrowed anymore. They've been adopted, they've been adapted, and now they are undeniably Moroccan. They tell the rich story of the country's unique cultural journey. And that really just leaves me with one final thought for you. This whole phenomenon, it's not unique to Morocco. Think about your own language, or even your local dialect. What words do you use every single day that actually came from somewhere else? It's a pretty fascinating way to look at the words we speak. Thanks for joining me.